Al Udeid Air Base, the largest in the Middle East, a much quieter base with no wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, and ISIS defeated. And President Trump would like to keep it that way. We heard from his remarks earlier. He wants this to be a trip about commerce, not conflict. And we've seen the commerce. The Saudis first pledging over $600 billion. Now right here in Qatar, the Emir saying he's going to up that to $1.2 trillion. So President Trump is due here to address the troops here, soldiers and airmen, Al Udeid Air Base. But before coming here, President Trump spoke with business leaders in Qatar, where he says he's close to a nuclear deal with Iran. Of course, Iran not far away, and Qatar and Iran share the largest gas field in the Persian Gulf. That's why these countries want to see a deal happen. Here is President Trump earlier.
I think we're getting close to maybe doing a deal without having to do this. There's two steps. There's a very, very nice step, and there's a violent step. The violence like people haven't seen before. And I hope we're not going to have to do this. I don't want to do the second step. We're in very serious negotiations with Iran for long-term peace.
And keep in mind, guys, for context, it was just a few weeks ago when President Trump was posting on Truth Social about bombing Iran. Now you don't hear that word here in the region. In addition to the business deals, diplomacy on the agenda, President Trump meeting the new president of Syria in Riyadh, who 6 months ago had a $10 million bounty on his head, running an al-Qaeda affiliate in Syria. Now he says he wants the U.S. to invest in his country, keep Iran out now that the Assad regime is gone. Trump said he will remove sanctions on Syria. Here's the president earlier here in Qatar.
Syria, we took out the sanctions, and that's been, I didn't even realize it's been many, many years that they've had sanctions. And as you know, there was a very big change at the top. And I thought that we have to give them a chance. They really have no chance with the sanctions.
Some weeks when years happen, and sometimes years go by when nothing happens, and we are living right now in the latter. We are living in incredible times. You can just do things. We are living in remarkable times, and it's inspiring, about as inspiring as that incredible meme. That's a great meme, Joe. That was a great meme. Donald Trump with the golden skulls riding a camel with Saddam Hussein. Okay, cool. We are so back, boys. The problem is the time change. And, I wake up between 5 and 6 a.m. every morning. And I wake up and I look at my phone and I'm like, oh, Trump's already touring mosques and doing crazy hair dances with people. I kid you not. There's a hair dance. Trump was treated to a hair dance by a bunch of women where they danced on him with their hair. I'm not joking. I'll play you the footage. It's crazy. Trump is now in the United Arab Emirates, Dubai. President Trump is touring and visiting and collecting for the country. He's reshaping the Mideast. And will President Trump get the Nobel Peace Prize? He damn well deserves it. Donald Trump may have just brought about true and lasting peace with Iran, as we've discussed on this program. The true problem in the Mideast is Iran, and they are now groveling and begging on bended knee. Just like Xi Jinping, just like Putin, and just like Zelensky. Zelensky is in Turkey for a peace deal. We'll have updates on all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, today is Thursday, May 15th, 2025. The world is a-changing. It's a very exciting place to be right now. Trump visits UAE. Iran signals peace. And Ben Carson will be on the program, along with Nick Sotor, who will be joining the show live from in front of the Supreme Court. We're going to be doing a lot more live coverage on this program from, let's just call them hot zones and newsworthy places. We're investing on this program thanks to you. We are investing deeply in more talent and resources and to bring you to where the news is actually happening. As much as I love our little studio here in Tampa, there's a great big wide world out there, and we want to make sure that you are locked in and ready to see all of it. So we are investing in on-the-ground reporting and people who will be doing God's work in the halls of Congress. Oh, do we have plans? Baby, we'll get to all of them. Let's rock and roll today. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Okay. President Trump has delivered $3 trillion in new investment for this country. As Donald Trump said on Monday in Saudi Arabia, this is a 2 million job trip. I am doing this trip to bring jobs to America. President Trump is about bringing jobs. He's doing this for our country. Donald Trump wants his house in order. He's standing up for his nation, and he's obviously surrendering the sovereignty of other nations. He's not there to lecture or to scold. That's what's most important about this trip. He's there to let the Middle East be the Middle East, because that's what it is. And it's important to understand that these aren't like nations to be toppled or meddled with by a sick global elite that feels like they need to run everything because they're psychotic, that everybody needs to ascribe to their neoliberal worldview. No, President Trump is seeing the world as it is and is partnering with these nations that have thousands of years of history in these lands and traditions, and President Trump is respecting that. It's a beautiful thing. He wants their houses to be in order, and he wants our house to be in order. Your house should be in order with American financing, ladies and gentlemen. Debt builds up little by little, piece by piece, and sometimes that debt can become overwhelming quickly over time. Get out of credit card debt today. My friends at American Financing can help you out. Credit card debt is crippling the American household. It's never been higher. There's never been more households that are in and under credit card debt. Dude, it's like literally tough times. The last 4 years have been brutal from an economic standpoint. And a lot of things have been flat, but prices have gone out of control. And so this is what obviously drowns an American household, and we want you to get out. If you're a homeowner, then you can unlock the equity in your home and get out of that high interest credit card debt right now. One simple, affordable payment. They're saving homeowners an average of $800 a month. No judgment, no pressure, just real solutions that put you back in control of your actual finances. There are no upfront fees, no costs. You just need to unlock the potential right now that you have to seize the American dream, and that can be done with American Financing. Call American Financing today at 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219, AmericanFinancing.net/Benny. Okay. This is an important date. I was reminded by our great executive producer of this program, the great ALX, what happened on this date. And we shouldn't miss it. And as soon as we get rolling into like the live Trump coverage, and we have a ton, President Trump was visiting military bases and ripping it up with our troops. President Trump has obviously been on a rampage with new business leaders and town halls, and he may well be speaking live. Unfortunately, the reality is we're flying blind right now. As I was briefed this morning, the agenda is kind of just all over the place for the president. So we are monitoring all of his movements live. And if Donald Trump comes and approaches the camera, you damn well know that we're going to have it for you. There's been a lot that's happened over the past 24 hours, and so we're going to catch up on that. But I don't want to miss something very important. There's something extremely important. Today's date, 1 year ago, Thursday, May 15th of 2024, is a date that shall live in infamy, as they say, because it's the date that Joseph Robinette Biden decided to release a video taunting Donald Trump to a debate, saying that Donald Trump is too scared to debate him, and saying he's going to make his day. Make my day, pal. A reminder, ladies and gentlemen, of this important moment from 1 year ago. Here we go.
Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
Can you play this just without the audio? First off, notice something here. Is the first problem, and this is just the kind of things that you see when you do this business professionally. Klein, how many jump cuts are there here? It's like 10. Klein saying 10 or more. Probably a dozen at least. Why would you jump cut something like this, Klein? Because you need a lot of takes. Yes, you need a lot of takes.
And not one was good enough to just play through. 7 jump cuts.
At least 7 jump cuts. Okay, we're just going to round up to a dozen. So it's like, so Donald Trump is getting taunted by a guy that can't even get through his own script to debate. And how did that debate work out for Joe Biden? This debate was, of course, the emperor has no clothes moment. It's the moment where everything just imploded for the Democrats. Obviously, we've been covering some of the scandal now that's come out where Joe Biden needed a wheelchair and everyone was lying, and it's all just like a nuclear bombshell inside of the Democrat Party. While Iran may be giving up their nuclear program and suing for peace, the Democrat Party is getting nuked right now. Okay, here we go. This is the results of that debate. This is the supercut that the president put together and his team put together of the performance of the debate. And here's what's very special. And you'll never see anything like this again. Please take note. It's worth remembering. So after Joe Biden says, "Make my day, pal," and Donald Trump's too scared to lose a debate to him again. This is Joe Biden's performance. It's the only time in American history that a presidential candidate, Donald Trump in this scenario, has released a highlight reel of their debate performance without the candidate speaking at all. All right, please enjoy.
Folks, how are you? Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, we're trying to provide housing for Black Americans. The impact on the choice, the idea that they're gonna. I'm proposing that everybody the millionaires pay 1%. So no one I've not raised the cost of Social Security for anybody. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it stopped. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with
it's hard to watch, really.
And more asylum officers.
I want there to be so many arrests in this country, and we've obviously been one of the shows that constantly asks Trump, law enforcement officials, and federal law enforcement officials, where are the arrests? But top of that list might surprise you. The name that I want arrested would be Jill Biden. Not because of the crimes of Joe Biden or Hunter, where she is also implicated, but because of like the crimes against humanity. Everybody has seen a member of their family go through dementia or Parkinson's or just become really old where they can't operate anymore. It happens to all of us. It happens to all of us at different ages. There are plenty of salient 100-year-olds, but sometimes people in their 70s start really like losing it, start slipping away. Joe Biden is being abused by his witch of a wife. And she's doing it because she likes invitations to parties. She likes being famous. She's abusing his corpse. Joe Biden is a corpse right now. Like lightly warmed over. And if you saw like what happened on The View, he was on The View, he was dragged onto The View. Jill Biden had to constantly answer for him. It was no better than that performance. No better than that performance. So it's absolute total domestic and elder abuse. Jill Biden should be charged for that. There's plenty of evidence of it. And I think that would be a righteous result for Joe Biden. So let's hope for that. Anyway, let's move on. That is the total and complete state of the Democrat Party. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is what that brought us. Now Joe Biden's getting all the blame, obviously, for a second Trump presidency. Thanks, pal. We're here for it. Let's bring you the updates from Donald Trump. I want to start here with clip I here, Klein. Trump's been on camera. He's been chatting a little bit. But I want to let's hop in with some of the epicness of what's going on. Fly over. This is President Trump leaving Qatar. This is happening at 3 a.m. our time. Donald Trump getting a fly. Let's hear the engines roar. Come on, why not? Trump getting a fly over he was talking about yesterday. Again, Trump being welcomed. We've never seen any leader welcomed like this in the Mideast. This is American dominance back in command, back in control. This is what true American might looks like when the leaders of the world accept that there is one president of the world, which is what the Saudis called Trump. The Saudis made a new name for Donald Trump. They called him the president of the world. Don't you want your country to be respected like this? Isn't this such a good thing for our nation? Of course it's a good thing for our nation. It's a good thing for the future of your children. It's a good thing if you ever want to travel to this region of the world, that you are protected and respected as an American. President Trump is doing more than any one man has done in my lifetime for the good faith, credit, and respect of America. In fact, this is awesome. If we could just jump right up to here. Biden officials are in awe. Biden officials are in awe. There's the only jump around I'll make, Klein. But yeah, look at this. Biden officials are shocked and in awe of what President Trump is doing right now in the Middle East. They're awed by Trump's rule-breaking Middle East rule-breaking. Who makes the rules? Paraphrasing Steve Jobs here. The rules are made by dumb people that are no smarter than you. They're created, they're fake. You can rewrite the rules if you're strong enough, if you're smart enough, because the people who made the rules don't deserve respect. The people who made the rules in the Middle East right now, they're neocons. They're all the holdovers from George W. Bush, John Kerry, Barack Obama. These people are globalists that want to see America destroyed. They want to see America brought to its knees. Instead, Donald Trump is bringing other nations to its knees. And it's refreshing. Look at this. Gosh, I wish I could work for an administration that could move that quickly, one admitted. Look at that. What they're saying. Biden administration veterans who spoke with Axios raised questions about Trump's motives, but grudgingly saluted his boldness. Gosh, I wish I could work for an administration that could move that quickly. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, where were you when this guy was challenging Trump, saying I'm going to beat Trump in a debate? Make my day, pal. I hear you're free on Wednesdays, which of course is a snipe at Donald Trump having to go to court on Wednesday for the lawfare. How'd that work out for you, you dumb bastards? Oh, man. Exciting times, truly. Okay, here we go. So here's what we all missed while we were sleeping. I know there's some people that are up at all hours. ALX is one of them. Our meme maker Jerry is one of them. How do you think Jerry gets these memes made? So maybe if you were up at 4 a.m. you saw this, but chances are you weren't. Shout out to meme maker Jerry. We are the only stream, the only news show in the world with a full-time meme maker, and it shows. Love to Jerry. Punch F for respects to Jerry in the chat. All right, there's Donald Trump. Donald Trump up and out, and he got another fighter jet escort. So freaking cool. This is the escort out of Qatar. This is a fighter jet escort out of Qatar, and he's going to the United Arab Emirates. And it's a pretty cool country. Look at what they're building here. You've probably seen this. The Palm, it's called. The Palm. They're building, it's amazing. California can't build a mile of high-speed rail. There's a bathroom in San Francisco. There's a public bathroom in San Francisco that's taken 10 years to build. Cost $40 million. And look at what they're able to do around the rest of the world. Why do the streets of Qatar look so beautiful? Why do these cities look so pristine, glassy, and immaculate? Well, because these countries actually care about their people. These countries actually invest. These countries don't have fraud programs like the glut of the welfare fraudulence state in this nation. These countries don't have open immigration. That's exactly right. These countries have like zero immigration. And so they're able to spend, they're able to lock in their economy and spend lavishly on their people and build majestic things that uplift the entire nation. Okay, well, here's President Trump getting intercepted by now the new jets. These are the UAE jets. Producers, hey, chat, can you tell me what are these? Are these F-16s? Are these F-15s? Are these F-15s? I know the chat knows, and I apologize that I'm not going to be able to know them on site. I can just simply guess. But I know there's going to be some very intelligent military minds and veterans in the chat. Love for all of our veterans. We're going to play you President Trump at a military base. The speech happened at like 1 a.m. our time at a military base in Qatar. Look at this. How cool is that, man? They're F-15s. Okay, all right. Shout out to the chat. F-15s. Look at those that F-15 failings around Air Force One. How epic is that? Oh, it's so awesome. It's how Air Force One should always travel. President Trump welcomed to the United Arab Emirates. Okay, here we go. So he's walking in. I'm going to show you. Nice. Okay, get the drums, baby. Sweet. I mean, these people are just putting it on. Just epic. They're just trying to outdo each other now. Just freaking epic. Magisterial. Trump clapping. Okay. Look at him go. I'm not trying to insult their culture, okay? I'm not trying to insult these people. But, like, the guys on the drums, could you learn YMCA? I'm not trying to, oh, here's the hair clip. I told you I'd play this. All right. Wait, no. You gotta show that hair clip. What the hell is this? Okay, here's the one thing. This is the one thing that I'm not exactly sure about. Okay, again, I'm not trying to insult your culture. But what the hell's going on here? Are they reenacting The Ring? What's going on exactly? Can somebody explain this? What is this, producers? Is this what women just do in the morning? Is this how people are welcome to Dubai? Is some type of I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I hope. Yeah. Like, okay. They're going to brush Trump with their hair. So Trump likes it. He does a fist pump. Trump's into it, clearly. Maybe it's like a thing. Maybe it's a personal thing. And do we have any more information? It's called a collegiate, okay? So a bunch of women with very long hair flap their hair at Trump and try and hit him with their hair braids. An Arabic mixture of modern and traditional dance. A collegiate. Can we put that up? Let's go ahead and read about it. I've never seen one of these. You know what? I never thought I'd see a Camel Motorcade. We saw that. We have yet to see a full Trump grab the sword dance. I wish we did have that. Okay, so you can see like a photo of like ladies flapping their hair around. Oh my. Okay. Boy. So they're flapping their hair at Trump. This dance entails rows of women in close proximity to move their slow, shuffling fashion while rhythmically swaying their hair. The women's hips remain stationary, well, it is the Middle East, right? While performing this dance. The costume is an important aspect of the dance, associated mostly with colorful embroidered garments. Many regional variations of the dance are practiced. Okay, it's called the collegiate dance. It goes back 1,000 years. Okay, that's cool. I thought women had to have hair coverings. They're doing the opposite. They're letting their hair down. This is what. Just show me one more Khaliji, will you? And it's like one more. Like what? It's like this is like a very interesting thing. Okay, so there you go. Would you like a Khaliji? Would you enjoy one of these when you go into Costco? Right? Like get to 7-Eleven. All right, cool. Well, Trump got his first Khaliji hair whipping from a bunch of Middle Eastern broads. Good for you, Trump. He liked it. He did the fist pump afterward. He's like, whoa, what was that? He's like, what was that? You remember yesterday? He like sits down. He sits down in the Emir of Qatar's palace and goes, thanks for the camels. I like the camels. Haven't seen that in a while. Thanks for the camels. Okay, cool. What's next? What do they do next? show me more of how they lavish our leader. Okay. Cool. Getting louder and louder. How long is Trump walking? It's like Trump's like walking through miles of hair whipping, drum banging. Would it kill you to learn YMCA?
The United States, who's now officially.
Okay, I'm not trying to insult your culture. I'm just trying to say, like, if you hit a hard YMCA on those drums, if you just change the tune up, you get President Trump to stop right there in the middle of the walk. You know you do it, right? Isn't this about respecting one's culture? Okay, well, this is the culture of Trump. Trump's bringing Lee Greenwood and frickin' YMCA to the Middle East. You can do the hair whipping to the YMCA, okay? It'll totally work. Young man. All right, here we go. What's next? Oh, it's just more footage. Okay, all right. So this is President Trump's arrival. This is cool. Wow. I didn't see this. Look, he's getting right off Air Force One. Boy, this is epic. So Trump doesn't even need to walk downstairs. So Trump's exiting Air Force One into a hallway. You see that? There's the door of Air Force One. How cool is that? So did you notice that? Trump's walking through a hallway that like the Air Force One just comes right up to what must be like a lavish like hallway and terminal. Very neat little detail there. Very cool. Okay. And Donald Trump greets a little girl, gives him flowers. Trump speaks to the little girl, is very nice to her. No hair whipping for her, okay? None of that. None of that ratchet-ish stuff for the little... No. The hair whipping comes later. Sorry. It's these little details that I think are so fun. And so here we go. Cool. I love it. President Trump has gone from here to a mosque. Can you please give me the name of this mosque? Apparently it's quite famous. It's apparently the most beautiful mosque in the world. Again, President Trump respecting tradition, culture. You know, he's on their land. Donald Trump's doing quite a bit of commentary about the quality of the marble. He's been doing this throughout the entire trip. Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque. Pop it up. Let's look through this. Let's have a look. There you go. Apparently it's the most beautiful mosque in the world. And Donald Trump stopped to describe the marble. That's what he's been doing. Okay, cool. What else? What else did Trump do in the mosque? Walking through. Very cool. Right? Oh, it's beautiful marble. Oh, it's beautiful marble. It's great. Thank you for making sure that those women used Pantene Pro V in their hair. It's just what it looks like to be respected on the world stage again. Yeah, you never saw Joe Biden do jack. Like, you never saw Biden ever welcomed to anything. They sent Uber X's to go get Joe Biden when he would land in places. Joe Biden would have to like share a UberX with a Chinese food delivery. It was so humiliating. Look at this. It's grandiose. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. We need to go there someday. Look at that. Trump's obviously in awe and is surrounded by beautiful scenery and successful diplomacy. President Trump securing trillions more in American investment here. What it looks like when you actually respect the places that you go, and you are respected in the places that you go. When Joe Biden visited Saudi Arabia, he got picked up at the airport by an UberX, okay, that was delivering China buffet, okay, and then he didn't even get a handshake from the Crown Prince. And that wasn't disrespect for America. That was disrespect for Joe Biden. They just know Joe Biden wasn't a legitimate president. And they didn't respect him and treat him like garbage. And Joe Biden never got any of this. Joe Biden couldn't walk these halls. I mean, could you imagine watching Joe Biden like try and walk these halls? Like he'd be falling. He'd be slipping and falling on the marble. Marble is kind of slippery. Anyway, it's freaking awesome. Biden officials in total awe of President Trump. Can we jump to the military? The military visit to the base in Qatar. President Trump salutes the troops in Qatar. I love seeing this. Some of the more epic moments of Trump's first term was at military bases in the Mideast. He went one Thanksgiving, I believe the year was 2018, and he went with Melania and he served Thanksgiving dinner in Iraq. He did this as a surprise. Freaking cool, man. Trump salutes U.S. forces at Qatar Air Base, promises peace through strength. Successful diplomacy can only be negotiated from a position of strength. President Donald Trump honored that credo Thursday when he visited U.S. troops at the Al Aid Air Force Base in Qatar, praising their critical role in the region, securing security while saluting America's ongoing commitment to ending, not beginning, conflicts. Well done. Freaking sweet. Donald Trump with a Reaper drone there. Epic lighting. Donald Trump, the late night President Trump military rallies. I am freaking here for it, okay? Let's begin. Where do we begin with the clips? And that's awesome. That's a great throwback. Can you toss that up? This is like the best Trump. There's a lot of good Trumps. There's nothing better than like Trump and Melania on a military base. I'm pretty sure that was this the one in Iraq? I don't know. I think this might have been Thanksgiving. This might have been Thanksgiving stateside. This was not Iraq. But either way, the vibe is the same, right? Here's President Trump serving food. This is the precursor. Bad quality image. This is the precursor to President Trump serving McDonald's. This was Trump in training with McDonald's. Yeah. Producers, get clients. Would you help a brother out? Get clients some high quality photos, will you? Ashley, get some high quality photos. We love the team around here. President Trump visiting military bases in Iraq. Let's toss to some President Trump military base clips. Trump Victory Day over World War II, talking about resetting the globe and the world as we know it. Here's President Trump in a raucous, it would have been 1 a.m. our time, military base rally.
And I'll tell you just a little story. A week ago, May 8th, I'd call up a certain country and they said, oh, we're celebrating the victory of World War II today, sir. Oh, really? I'd speak to one of the presidents or prime ministers or whatever. And they were so busy. Oh, yes, we're celebrating the victory of World War II. Then I speak to another one and they were celebrating. And the fact is, Russia was celebrating. France was celebrating. Everybody was celebrating but us. And we're the ones that won the war. We won the war. And they helped. But without us, they don't win the war. We're all speaking German. You know that, right? Without us, they're speaking German, maybe a little Japanese too. We won the war, and we're the only ones that didn't celebrate. So what I did, is I got my crack staff over there, and we did it every time. We have May 8th, and we also have the date in November, that sacred date in November for World War I, because we won that war too.
Can't wait to be there. We will be at the President Trump Victory Day parade. We're going to be doing some special reporting from there. Expect us to be live from the parade. It's going to be awesome. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, continuing on. President Trump with his message to the Mideast, which is a message of peace, not war, which we fully endorse on this program. In fact, the Pope was up with a couple of great, again, we're going to wait and see on this American Pope, but he was up yesterday. He started tweeting yesterday from the Pontifex account. And he was up yesterday with great messaging that seems to be totally in coordination with Donald Trump. It's like literal President Trump messaging. And the Pope was up with a message of peace, stopping wars, ending the conflict, ending the killing. It's freaking great, man. It was awesome. You're on the wrong account. You're on the archived account. Yeah. But it was really freaking cool. It was almost like the Pope, and I don't know this, but it was almost like the Pope was coordinating with the president and is out speaking for peace in our time. It's very cool, and this is what you got with Pope John Paul. The Holy See is willing to have. He's saying the Vatican is willing to bring all. You can use the Vatican to negotiate peace. Come here and negotiate peace inside the Vatican. Why not? Right? Why not? We actually saw Donald Trump do that with Zelensky. Donald Trump sat Zelensky down inside the Vatican when they were both there for the Pope's funeral 2 weeks ago. So maybe there's an inspirational spark there, right? Where peace began. Donald Trump needs to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Here's President Trump. Wow, that was fast. Just since we're on it, and we're not going to get back here. Here's President Trump. Here's President Trump meeting with Zelensky. Just carve out a little section of the Vatican just for yourself. Yep, that's right. That's right. And a shameless shout out for our boy ALX. Just click on that profile, shall you? Come on, let's get a shameful shout out to ALX. Look at him go. 982,000 followers. We gotta get ALX to 1 million. Get in there and follow ALX, our executive producer. Trump, I will end all of the conflicts. Let's go.
As president, my priority is to end conflicts, not start them, but I will never hesitate to wield American power if it's necessary to defend the United States of America or our partners. And this is one of our great partners right here. When we're threatened, America's military will answer our enemies without even thinking about it. We have overwhelming strength and devastating force.
President Trump saying he's going to increase the pay in the U.S. military. Listen to this applause line.
But the real strength of our military doesn't come from its fighter jets. It really comes from our people. That's you. It comes from our people. You're unbelievable people. The aptitude and all of the things you have to do what you do. I look at some of those engines, and I'm a pretty smart cookie. I would tell you I'm real smart. And I look at you, and you take those engines apart and put them back together, blindfolded, and fix them up. It's amazing what you're able to do. And then to fly them, just incredible. You're incredible. You're a very special group of people. And that's why in my 2026 budget includes across the board. Maybe you don't want it. Look, for the good of the country, you don't have to take it. Pay raises for each and every one of you, substantial pay raises. But you don't have to take it. You don't have to take it. You can go to your commanding officer and say, sir, I'd rather not take that pay. I love my country, sir. I refuse to take it. Anybody here, raise your hand, please, if you refuse to take it. Let's see here. All right. Well, at least we have smart people. That's good. So you do your duty for us, and as Commander-in-Chief, I will always do and fulfill my duty to you. That's what I'm doing.
Isn't it wonderful to see that? Isn't that more uplifting than anything that's happened with a sultan or an emir or a king? Is Donald Trump just enlivening the troops? Check this out. This is President Trump walking into that speech. Probably should have started with this. You got a great Pete Hegseth clip here. Donald Trump walking in. So awesome. Oh no, let's hear him roar. Let's hear him applaud. Let's hear him applaud the man. God. Again, this is in Qatar. Just a sharp-looking base, sharp-looking troops. Remember how sad it was? Ladies and gentlemen, the last time that you saw Joe Biden at a military base, remember he fell flat on his face? So he handed out all his diplomas. That was at an Air Force graduation. And he falls right on his face. Dude, that's just, it was just brutal. What does that do to your confidence as a service member? I mean, this is like dude, as president, you have got to uphold the morale of the U.S. military, and the commander-in-chief is falling directly on his face. Not on his ass, on his face. Oh, it's brutal. The difference, since this is the anniversary of Joe Biden taunting Donald Trump and saying he could beat Trump, let's show you the difference. So we have Donald Trump walking in there in Qatar in what is probably like his 48th or 72nd hour without any sleep. Because Donald Trump's not sleeping. So we have this. Here's the war. This is the roars. This is Donald Trump walking in with absolute strength, securing trillions of dollars in investment, bringing stability and peace to the Middle East. And here's Joe Biden, stateside, at a military graduation. Come on, pal. Make my day. Make my day, pal. We got you. We got you. I'm going to beat you. It's amazing how God humbles, isn't it? It's amazing how God humbles. Always remember God. Always remember. Remember what Christ said. What are the two most important commandments? You are not God. Love your neighbor. But very important, you are not God. Don't mock God. Yikes. Okay, so how about this? What is the blessing of Christ? What is the blessing that Christ gives as soon as he was resurrected from the dead? Peace be with you. Peace be with you. Blessed are the peacemakers, the scriptures say. And this is what President Trump is trying to do. Listen to President Trump talk about how Iran has signaled for the first time in my lifetime that they are on their knees and willing to do anything to ensure that that they are in compliance with world peace. It's so freaking awesome to see this. Now, this is the article really quickly here. Top Iranian official says Tehran will forego highly enriched uranium in nuclear deal with Donald Trump. Please make a deal with us. Please, we'll do anything. We see that you're taking all of our allies in the Middle East and turning them against us. We understand what's happening. It's going to mean horrors for us. We can barely feed our own people. We can't even have, the power doesn't even work here. Everything is crumbling. Trump's just completely like breaking our jaw and talking mad smack all throughout the Middle East. We are getting destroyed here. We'll do anything. Here's Donald Trump on Iran. No one was expecting this. This is an unbelievable result. Let's go.
And you probably read today the story about Iran has sort of agreed to the terms. They're not going to make, I call it in a friendly way, nuclear dust. We're not going to be making any nuclear dust in Iran. And we've been strong. I want them to succeed. I want them to end up being a great country, frankly, but they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's the only thing. It's very simple. It's not like I have to give you 30 pages worth of details. There's only one sentence. They can't have a nuclear weapon. And I think we're getting close to maybe doing a deal without having to do this. There's two steps. There's a very, very nice step, and there's a violent step. The violence like people haven't seen before. And I hope we're not going to have to do this. I don't want to do the second step. Some people do. Many people do. I don't want to do that step. So we'll see what happens. But we're in very serious negotiations with Iran for long-term peace. And if we do that, it'll be fantastic.
Very serious negotiations with Iran for long-term peace. And President Trump, in finality, again, we're monitoring everything that Trump's doing right now, but saying, I am bringing 4 million jobs to the United States. He locked in $3.5 trillion worth of investment. And here's Trump doing his victory lap.
I want to thank the Emir because He put up a lot, and in terms of investment, it could amount to 2 million, 3 million, maybe even 4 million jobs in the United States. And more importantly, it's really important stuff. It's tremendous refining capabilities. It's capabilities for very high end. AI is a big subject, and it's a big subject over here too. I always say, what are you investing in? It seems one thing everybody seems to have in common is AI. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad. Maybe you shouldn't do it because too many people are doing it, or maybe you should follow the crowd, fellas. Okay, so you're going to figure it out.
Trump giving live economic advice. Trump giving live business advice. Come on, man. We are living in the sacred timeline. It is the best. The world is changing. Things are happening. It's very exciting. My producer's yelling at me. Two things. One, you can't miss this Hegseth clip. Hegseth was there with President Trump to rally the troops. And they're saying, you got to play this one. And we were breezing through the Trump clips. Hegseth talking about what it means to be America first. If there's one thing that this entire tour of the Middle East has done, it has been to reassert American dominance and might. And here is Pete Hegseth playing the part like a fiddle.
I look out into this audience and I truly see the eyes of American strength, the eyes of American deterrence, the eyes of Americans who put America first. So on behalf of a grateful nation, I want to thank you for your willingness to take the prime of your life to raise your right hand to defend our Constitution and our great nation. We salute you. We thank you and your families these 6,000 or 7,000 miles away.
Pete Hegseth getting uproarious applause there. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a good doctor who's going to be joining me in just 1 second, the great Dr. Carson. Ben Carson will be on the program. I want to get his take on Trump being shoeless. Is Trump allowed to be shoeless? Has he ever seen Trump without any shoes on? Donald Trump is barefoot currently. Donald Trump barefoot inside of a mosque in Dubai. This big, with one hell of a chandelier there. Never seen anything like it. Here's Donald Trump. He doesn't have his shoes on. Oh, okay. So he does have his socks on. Donald Trump doesn't have his shoes on. Got it. All right. Well, there you go. Never seen anything like it. Who's the guy who gets to hold Trump's shoes? Who's the guy that has what guy is given the job of looking at Donald Trump and going, take your shoes off? Who's that guy? The guy probably has high blood pressure. I have high blood pressure. It's something that obviously is goes with the territory when you're doing this job, but also it's kind of the rules of the road when you come from a family that has a lot of heart problems. Most American families do, actually, unfortunately. High blood pressure just is part of the territory, obviously, and it's not something you want. It's something that I'm trying to get under control, and especially in this career. Especially with the responsibilities that I have at home with 4 little kids, I want to make sure that I'm doing my very best to lower my high blood pressure. That's why I use 120 Life. 120 Life is a spectacular, all-natural drink that has within it a proprietary compound that helps me manage my high blood pressure. It is extremely beneficial for people that are suffering from high blood pressure, but also diabetes. It's endorsed by hundreds of doctors, and it's used by thousands and thousands of Americans to help in a natural way to lower your blood pressure. This is something that obviously can be a major killer. Heart disease and heart complications are the #1 killer in this country. And this is something that you need to take very seriously. I'm mixing this with walking, a lot more outdoor exercise, and then I built myself an at-home gym. So I'm doing my best to make sure that I'm healthy for the responsibilities I have, right? This show, my children, and then being a man who can fight, right? They want you to be sick and to be laid in bed. Don't let that happen. 120 Life can provide visible, measurable changes in blood pressure. Use a simple monitor at home to track your progress. And they have a guarantee that it will lower your blood pressure. There's nothing to lose, ladies and gentlemen, except your high blood pressure. So for a limited time, go to 120 Life. Save 20% off. Just use the code Benny at checkout, 120 Life. It offers a risk-free trial with a refund if you don't see lower numbers in 2 weeks. Go to 120life.com, life.com. Use the code Benny and save 20%. There's nothing to lose except your high blood pressure, okay? Code Benny, save 20% at 120life. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody who is the opposite of high blood pressure, somebody who's always a calming force when he's on this program and when he's speaking with us because, well, he's the good doctor. His name is Ben Carson, and he joins us live now. Dr. Carson, you've served honorably with President Trump in his first administration. And, well, have you ever seen him barefoot? It's kind of wild scenes out of Dubai right now. Doc, I'm sorry, you're muted. Yeah, you just got to unmute on your end. My apologies.
Okay.
There you are, doctor.
We did see him barefoot in Butler, Pennsylvania. It's kind of interesting because in the Bible, Moses is told to take off his shoes because he's on holy ground. Well, I think God saved President Trump. And Butler, Pennsylvania is only 59 miles away from the site of the Battle of Monongahela during the French and Indian War, when George Washington had 4 bullet holes in his coat, but no flesh wounds. God saved him, and he recognized that. So maybe the shoes off the feet has significance.
That's remarkable. I've never put those two together. I'm just a simple Christian, but man, I just got chills, doctor, you saying that. Yeah. Take off your shoes, you're on holy ground, and President Trump took his shoes off. In fact, that's one of the first things he said after, actually, like, wait, I got to get my shoes after being shot.
Exactly. Well, our country was going down the tubes. And if the other side had won, I don't think we would have had a chance. I don't think we would have ever recovered from that. And there were a lot of people of faith who were praying that God would save us. Remember when Abraham was negotiating with God over Sodom and Gomorrah? And he said, 50 people, there'd be 50 people. Could you let them live? How about 40? How about 30? How about 20? How about 10? Think about it. There were a lot more than 10 people in this country who were praying that things would turn around in this country. And things are looking up now. Doesn't mean that it's over by any stretch of the imagination. We still have people who want to fundamentally change us into something else. And they will do whatever they can do in order to do that. And some people think that that's of recent origin. That's been going on for a long time. You go back and look at the congressional record, January the 10th, 1963, over 60 years ago, Congressman Herlong of Florida read in the 45 goals of communism in America. What do they want to do in order to gain control in this country? Like gain control of the public school system and the teacher union so you could indoctrinate the kids, gain control of the media and Hollywood so that you could change the culture in America, denigrate the role of fathers in the family, get God out of the public square, make sexual deviance normal, natural, and healthy. All of these things fighting at the core of who we are, eroding our faith and our families. And look what's happening to the families in America. Look what's happening to our birth rate. In the 60s, it was 3.6 average births per woman. Now we're down to 1.6 and declining. And people are not getting married, not understanding the importance of that family unit. And there was a study by Princeton University and the Brookings Institute looking at traditional nuclear families and prosperity in different states. And they found out that the most prosperous states were the ones that had the most traditional nuclear families. There's something about providing the right atmosphere for a child to grow up in.
Can you, since you've done such remarkable work with children, with babies, separating successfully the first conjoined twins who were conjoined by the head, these things are remarkable acts, and you clearly care about this issue. Otherwise, you wouldn't have devoted your life to it. What does it say to you that there's such a collapse in birth rate around the globe? This seems like such an existential crisis for civilization.
Well, we have the rise of the dinks, double income, no kids, and people just thinking about themselves. And, How can I make myself feel better right now? How can I have a more comfortable existence? I wonder what they'll say when they're 85 years old and they don't have anybody who really cares about them. They're not thinking long term. And, God had a plan. Adam and Eve, he said, be fruitful and multiply and dominate the earth, control your environment, what's going on. We have responsibilities. We were made that way. And there was a system that was made, and it worked very well for a long time. It was because of the values that we had as a nation that we went from a bunch of ragtag militiamen to the pinnacle of the world in record time. That was not a coincidence. That was because of the values that we had. And as we began to lose those, as we were rapidly doing, we start going in the other direction. I think this is the time for the course correction. I'm glad to see it happening. I've gone to a lot of universities in the last year or so in conjunction with Turning Point USA, and see the enthusiasm of the young people who used to hide in the shadows, who now don't mind wearing an American flag or a MAGA hat. It gives me hope that things are turning around our country and people are recognizing that you play a part. Every one of us has a sphere of influence, and we play a role in what happens in that sphere.
Turning Point, obviously one of those really special organizations that we're so proud to partner with, that shows and explains and opens up the world to young people when they are searching. And what they're searching for mostly is for a approval mechanism of the value systems that I think are inborn, that you want to get married, have children, like live a prosperous and happy life, that there was something right about the way that your the way your great-grandparents lived is a good way to live, actually. And they were some of the happiest people we ever knew. So like maybe they were onto something, perhaps. And that in this current environment, it's the opposite that's explained to children. Like kids get the opposite messaging, which is live for yourself, never, live for yourself, like pornography, OnlyFans, free sex,
right?
Like video games, smoke weed, live a purposeless life. And that's going to end up disastrously for this generation.
And material wealth,
yeah.
Which, I won't deny that it's more comfortable to be rich than it is to be poor. I won't deny that, having been in both places. But I will say that having stuff does not make you happy. I know a lot of very, very wealthy people who are as miserable as can be. And I know people who are not wealthy who are as happy as can be. You have to find what fulfills your life and not be worried about material things. As the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. You got to get the order right.
People are looking for, I think kids are simply looking for the feedback loop, right? Turning Point provides that. Speeches that you give provide that. What's your pronatalist message to young people?
Absolutely. And helping them to understand what's going on in their environment, and to understand that we, the American people, are not each other's enemies. It's we have real enemies out there. They want to destroy us. They want to change what's going on in America. And they want to manipulate us into thinking that we're enemies, driving wedges on the basis of race, age, income, gender, religion, political affiliation, have us at each other's throats. A house divided against itself cannot stand. They realize that we've got to be smart enough to realize it's okay to disagree. It doesn't make somebody your enemy because they have a different yard sign than you do. And you can learn a lot more from somebody who disagrees with you than from somebody who agrees with you all the time. And I always say, if two people agree about everything, one of them isn't necessary.
So you talk about the American founding and how this country sort of rose out of a ragtag group of militiamen to becoming the most powerful country in the world. And it does seem like, as Donald Trump is crisscrossing the Middle East, that it is reasserting that American greatness. You're obviously very close friends with Donald Trump, and you've worked in his first administration, I know that you're still actively working with him.
Yes.
This message of peace and this message of self-determination and sovereignty is really being well received. Can you sort of break down what this Trump Doctrine 2.0 looks like?
Well, Donald Trump is a very smart guy. He has a very good sense of what works and what doesn't work. You look at all the times when the media and everybody has said, "Oh, he's crazy, he can't," and then what he does works. And he recognizes that right now it is very important for us to establish strong relationships with all parts of the world, including the Middle East, where we have sometimes neglected seeking peace. And he recognizes that if he does not do that, China will. They will fill that void and they will create a solid wall of opposition against us. And ultimately, that will lead to our destruction. He knows that. And he's taking advantage of the fact that people have seen what he's doing, they have respect for him, and they're willing to work with him. And this is the time, strike while the iron's hot, to formulate those relationships that are strong, and also to bring America back. We have been neglecting our people economically. We've had a lot of presidents, both Democrats and Republicans, who have said, let's curry favor with this nation and that nation, and we'll pay, extra money and we'll build them up. That's all fine and good after you've taken care of your own people.
Yeah.
When you get on the airplane, what did they say? In case of an emergency, oxygen mask will drop down. Put yours on first and then help your neighbor. And that's what he's doing. He's putting our oxygen mask on first, and then he's helping our neighbors.
Yeah, like why do the streets of Qatar and Dubai and Saudi Arabia, why are they gleaming and perfect and pristine with no potholes or trash or litter, and the streets of where you're from, Baltimore, looks worse than many third world cities, looks worse than the front lines of Ukraine in many neighborhoods in Baltimore, like a literal bombed out, incapable of living, like what you would call a demolition zone. Like that is a betrayal of our people.
It's
by
a total
our
betrayal.
leaders.
Absolutely. And I hope and I pray that those on the left will stop just knee-jerk reaction, oppose anything that Trump is doing, and start thinking about what's good for the nation and saying, can we work together to get these things done, and not allow themselves to be manipulated into a position that if they really thought about it, they really wouldn't want to be in.
So the knee-jerk reaction to Donald Trump, the polling out as of today, it looks like we're going to get Kamala Harris running again, 2028, maybe with AOC as her running mate. So, what say you, Doctor, about that ticket?
Well, I suspect I wouldn't mind seeing that ticket. That would be good, because it makes the contrast so vivid. It shouldn't be confusing for people. And I think maybe that's what we need to drive the craziness out completely. One of the reasons that you see Gen Z and a lot of the young people moving toward the Republican Party is because they're sitting there saying, two X's and you're a female, and an X and a Y and you're a male. We've known that for thousands of years. Why is that suddenly a controversy? And they're saying, of course men shouldn't be playing in women's sports any more than the featherweight boxer should be boxing the heavyweight boxer. I mean, they're using their brain and they're thinking, this is absolute bizarre stuff that's going on, and we don't want any part of it. And they also want to be able to buy a home. They want to be able to have a family. They realize that the direction that the left is leading will never lead to those goals.
Very quickly here, I wanted to cover this because you just talked about biological realities, and there's a biological reality that a lot of our food and a lot of our environment is toxic. It's poisoned, and that it's been poisoned to on purpose by corporations that have not been held accountable by the agencies and federal government that, I'm not in favor of like mass regulation, but don't poison my children is one of those things that I'm happy my tax dollars go to. But they've been failing. And there's been this massive MAHA movement, executive orders on prescription drugs and so on. I'm sure you have quite a take on this, given the fact that you're one of the more famous doctors to ever live in this country. So the floor is yours, doctor. How do you think Trump's doing on MAHA? Did you like this executive order for pharmaceuticals?
I am thrilled with the MAHA movement and recognizing that we have a major responsibility. The government has a major responsibility to protect the people under its domain. And the things that we're putting into the food, petroleum products for coloring, we're putting them into people's food. Are you kidding me? And there must be something going on because we're less healthy than we used to be. Our longevity is actually in the process of decreasing. A third of our children have some type of chronic medical condition. 40% of them are overweight. You look at the things like ADHD, which have just increased dramatically. You look at autism spectrum disorder. Decades ago, it was 1 to 4 in every 10,000. Now it's 1 in 31. Something is going on. And I think Bobby Kennedy is right to say we're going to pull out all the stops and we're going to find out what it is. It's probably multifactorial. It's probably a combination of all the things that we're putting in the food or allowed to be put in the food and some of the things that we're doing behaviorally. For instance, when I was still in practice, frequently parents would come to me and they would say, pediatrician wants us to start the kid on such and such drug for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And I would ask them, well, can they watch television? Oh, yeah, can they watch TV all day? Can they play video games? All day long. I say, well, tell you what, let's wait for 3 months. And during that 3 months, you wean them off of some of those electronic avenues and substitute time with you, quality time with you, reading and discussing material. And then in 3 months, when you come back, if they still need it, let's talk about it at that time. The vast majority did not need it. So, it's a combination of some of the things that we're doing to the kids. As soon as the baby is able to sit up, propping them in front of the television, zip, 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 zoom, zoom, zoom. They get a little older, they have some manual dexterity. You give them controls to the video game, zip, 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 zoom, zoom, zoom. Now you put them in school and the teacher's not turning to something every few seconds. You think they're going to pay attention? Probably not. So, we need to look at a whole plethora of things that are affecting the way that our children are being raised. If we really love them and we want them to succeed, we have to pay attention to them.
If you really loved them, then you'd pay attention. I want a final message to you, to Jill Biden, because this is the 1-year anniversary of Joe Biden in this very embarrassing taunt to Donald Trump, where he said, I'm going to beat you in a debate, make my day, pal, right? This is the 1-year anniversary of probably the biggest boomerang tweet in the history of politics. And this ended predictably for Joe Biden. You were on our program constantly talking about Joe Biden's mental state. You are an expert on what's happening inside of the human brain. And what's become clear in the appearances that Joe Biden has made since the demolition of his own party, which we thank him for, I guess, in 2024, is that there's something horribly wrong, and that Jill Biden is clearly using a very infirmed Joe for fame and for money, and it just seems like elder abuse to us. What's your take on the status of the Bidens right now?
I've said that for a long time, that I feel sorry for Joe Biden. He's being used, and he has no idea what's going on, and obviously was not running the country. And we were in grave danger. Fortunately, the winds of destruction held off. probably because a lot of people were praying. But I feel sorry for the man. He clearly is not all there, has not been all there for a significant period of time. We see these kinds of deteriorations in older people frequently. He has classical signs, and they knew it, and they were hiding it from the people, or just denying. They're in a state of denial, like ostriches sticking their head in the sand. But the people that I really blame for all of that, the news media. No curiosity whatsoever. No willingness to investigate what was actually going on, and hiding it, and clearly taking sides. And they've been as responsible as anything for the deteriorations that have occurred in this country. But I don't think it's too late. And every time I see a young journalist, I say, you could be on the forefront of helping to change the narrative, of bringing integrity back to your profession and being objective and helping the people. The reason we have freedom of press is because our founders recognized that you were the ones who were supposed to inform the people so that the country could be run on the will of the people. But how can it be run on the will of the people when you're giving them distorted information and putting your finger on the scale, probably putting your whole body on the scale? And, a lot of people aren't going to investigate things for themselves, so they just take what they hear and they run with it, and particularly if they hear it a lot. It was Goebbels and Hitler who understood that. Just keep saying the same thing over and over, and people will accept it as truth. We can do better than that. And I implore the young journalists out there to have some courage and to step out and to be honest and to be decent and to be patriotic.
Do you think that Jill Biden should be charged with elder abuse?
I would hope that she could just fade into the background and disappear. Let's just move on from that whole embarrassing episode.
I agree with you, Doctor, but she seems dead set on dragging his corpse out to the View and to further embarrassment. I mean, as long as there's a pulse and some warmth left in those hands, she's gonna just keep riding that old horse. And so it's brutal. It's tough to watch, honestly. It's tough to watch.
Those of us who are logical just have to realize that we have to grab the mantle of leadership and move in the right direction, and leave those who are in the wrong place where they are. Just move on.
Well, we'd be happy to do that, and we're very excited for the Kamala AOC ticket. And boy, this is going to be an entertaining next couple of years.
It should be fun.
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you, Doctor. Everybody follow Dr. Carson. Obviously, he's got 2.3 million subs already. Here's his profile on X, Ben and Candy Carson. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's the great doctor. Godspeed, sir.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be doing a lot more reporting in the field on this program. We're going to be bringing you more reports from inside of the White House, outside of the White House, inside of the halls of Congress. We are investing. We are driving in the investment to build up reporters and to train up new young journalists and people that are willing to go out and really break some of the rules and get the stories. And this is how you actually apply cultural pressure. You go out and get it, right? You go and I hate this terminology, but you make people uncomfortable. How do you do that? Well, why can Democrats wander around Capitol Hill constantly like this? Here's a good example. Look at this. Look at this. The Debbie Dingle. This is Debbie Dingle sleeping. A member of Congress from Michigan. She's asleep in a committee hearing. Democrats, I worked on Capitol Hill, Democrats get no pushback ever. They never get asked a tough question. They never get asked an uncomfortable question. We need people out there to be delivering the news and to be adding pressure. And so we're going to be doing a lot more work on that front. is really valuable, and I think it'll be a really valuable service. I've done it myself. I've been a reporter inside of the White House. I've been a reporter in the halls of Congress, had my hard passes, and I know how it's done, and I know how it's done wrong, and I know how it's done right. I feel like there's some very good energy and very good things to come here, ladies and gentlemen. Joining us in just a moment is going to be a wonderful independent journalist, Nick Sotor. I don't know if he uses Patriot mobile devices, but I do know this. I do. And when we are out of the studio and we're tearing it up and we're cracking, ladies and gentlemen, it's that Patriot mobile phone in my pocket that I know will keep me connected to you, and will make sure that if there's any funny business going on, that I can capture it in a moment's notice. We do go to a lot of newsworthy places, a lot of newsworthy moments. Dr. Carson was talking about Butler, Pennsylvania. Man, ALX was there with us in Butler. That was the freaking coolest thing ever, man. Going there to Butler and like being there at President Trump's rally that night. Klein, it was killer, man. It was just, I've never seen anything like it. So inspiring. Anyway, the point is that our Patriot mobile device works there in Butler with what had to have been 50,000 people that showed up. And they are just with us. We are locked and loaded with Patriot Mobile. They're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They're available to all three major networks. And their American-based customer service team can make the switch today, Junior. Believe in a country that believes in your First Amendment. Believe in a company that believes in your First Amendment rights. Very important if that's a communication company. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny, 972-PATRIOT. You can call today. Get a free month of service with the promo code Benny, BENNY. Make the switch. Defend freedom with every call or text you make. patriotmobile.com/Benny, 972-PATRIOT. Okay. Joining us now live from what I assume to be his phone is the great independent journalist Nick Sotor. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Nick, you're out front of the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
Let's
Benny.
go, man.
I'm telling you, man, I have to keep moving the tripod because, I've already been, as soon as I got here, for whatever reason, whatever protest group this is, they hired a trans militant brigade to patrol the perimeter. As soon as I walked up, they radioed in for backup because, they just, at this point, I'm getting a little known among these protest groups around here because it's the same people every time, Benny, every single time.
So you're out front of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is looking at two major cases that would have huge consequences. Obviously, the really big one being, can these little district courts do nationwide injunctions? And this is why there's a large crowd in front of the Supreme Court, because this is like the last and only tool of the left right now to stop President Trump's agenda. Yeah?
Right.
This is what the protest is about?
Yeah, well, it's that, and then you've got, they're talking about birthright citizenship. They want the ability, first off, they want to have any of their 610 district court judges to be able to block any move that President Trump makes. There are at least 610 district court judges, Benny. I mean, why should one of them from BFE be able to block anything that the Trump administration does? I don't think a Northern California judge should be able to say that Trump can't deport violent MS-13 gang members that cross the border. That's ridiculous. That affects the entire country. Secondly, birthright citizenship. That is on the docket today. These people want you to have... Look, part of the goal is for them to be able to import voters, right? We know that. Bring them across the border, give them amnesty, eventually get them on the voter rolls. That is part of the long-term Democrat plan. So they need these illegals to be able to come over the border, pop out a baby 15 minutes later, and that baby become an American citizen, an anchor baby, we'll call it. Trump's been saying it for years, and he's been right about that. That's what they do. They send over, as soon as they have a baby in the United States, all of a sudden they're anchored down here, and the left says that they can't be removed after that. That's the problem that we need to fix.
Yeah, and it's not just criminal aliens from the third world. This is something that happens with Chinese billionaires and Russian billionaires and elites from all around the world. They do this. It's totally weird, and it's a throwback. It was never intended to work this way. So I'm glad to see the Supreme Court. Do you have any take on how the Supreme Court is going to rule on this? Here we have the article up right here from Fox News. Supreme Court hears challenge Trump's birthright citizenship order in major case. Birthright citizenship, I think, is important. I think the district judges thing is even more important, frankly. But obviously both two big ones.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the person here that I'm the most concerned with is Amy Coney Barrett. I mean, some of her rulings recently have been really unexpected, I would say. I mean, we didn't expect that out of Amy Coney Barrett a year or two ago. Seems like something's changed. She seems to side with the liberals more than she sides with the conservative justices at this point. And, you know, I'll bring it back a little bit closer here so you can see some of the signs that'll show. Let's see here. Trying to find some of the threatening signs here.
This is great. I just love this.
Yeah, we'll run right through the middle. Nancy Pelosi is right over here. Actually, so you had.
Don't get
he just walked away. Yeah, so Charles Downs, who's right over here with me, he just got attacked by Pelosi's squad. Capitol Police said, yeah, they told us to. They said we're allowed to be here, but they cannot guarantee our safety or the safety of our equipment. I mean, it's pretty typical that if somebody come by, they'll knock my tripod, they'll hit my phone. That's a pretty regular occurrence. And they just watched it happen and they didn't do anything about it. So I don't know. And we're in front of the Supreme Court. You'd think that maybe all these cops everywhere, you'd think they'd do something about it. But no, I mean, we're kind of on our own here, man. These people are never held accountable.
I've been through these protests. I know what you're smelling right now. These people, they are not very hygienic. Yeah, and it's you're a very brave man, Nick. Okay, so you've seen some violence already in front of the Supreme Court. People have been attacking the free and independent press.
Yeah, so I'll bring in Charles Downs right here real quick. He can't hear you because I don't have that equipment yet. Yeah, we'll work on that. So Charles Downs,
what's up, bro?
Works with Loomer. He tried to just ask, right before we were coming live, he tried to ask Nancy Pelosi a question. And the goon squad, the trans militant squad that's out here doing security, grabbed him and pulled him. Yeah, it's on video. It'll be posted later. Make sure you check him out on X. It'll be posted on there. And I'm telling you, there aren't many of us out here, Benny. It is such a, I mean, you see media, right? But they're not, we're talking legacy media, lamestream media, that they don't ask any questions. They don't hold anybody accountable. I mean, right now, without people like us on the ground out here, including yourself, without people like you reporting from places like this, it would be completely controlled by the liberal lamestream media, and we have to take that back. That's why I'm excited to be able to do something here.
That's right. So, okay, well, what question, did you get a question in on Pelosi? What question are you going to ask Democrats that show up to this?
No, well, first of all, when it comes to Pelosi, for example, and you have Jamie Raskin here as well, I'm much more interested. I know what their take on this is going to be. It's the same thing every single time. Oh, Trump hates brown people or whatever, and that's going to be what all this is about. And they'll mention something. If you talk about district court judges, they'll say, well, that's the rule of law. That's just the way it is. No, the Constitution was never written to give a low-level district court judge the ability to usurp power from the president of the United States and appoint themselves as commander-in-chief. That was never part of the Constitution. The question that I want to know is why does Raskin continue to defend Joe Biden, first off, and about their cover-up of Joe Biden's mental acuity, and secondly, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, Jamie Raskin just yesterday calling him a Maryland man still, even after all of the stuff that's come out about the guy, every day it seems there's more confirmation that this was a violent gang member, trafficking people, being paid to traffic people, illegals from Texas to Maryland. And for whatever reason, they're still on his side. And nobody is really pressing them hard in person on those questions. And that's why it's good for independent media like ourselves to be on the ground doing that. If I get the opportunity to do it, you can guarantee that's going to be one of the questions I ask Nancy Pelosi.
Fantastic. Final question, Nick. Why is it always the same people? You said it's like the same. You're starting to recognize it's like the same people. They're paid. Is this like a rent-a-mob? Is that what's going on? These people aren't real. They're not real.
No, they're not real. They're not real. I almost know some of them by name at this point. There's one lady that worked her way up into the front that typically comes to these wearing a Luigi hat, carries the same sign every single time. It's the same security brigade. That's why they recognize everybody. And the organizer is always the same. The people that are speaking are always the same. It's like, I don't know how long is this gig going to work. I feel like the majority of the American people at this point have realized that this is all astroturf. This is all fake. It's not real. These people don't know what you could go up to a handful of people in this group and they're gonna have no idea what the hell they're even here for. They'll be, you can catch them on the spot. That's why I'm hoping next time I'll come back to some of these things with a team. We'll be able to go around and ask people in the crowd, "Hey, sir, how's it going?" Good. All right. We'll be able to ask people in the crowd exactly what they're here for, and we'll see the percentage of people that actually know what they're here for. So we'll do that next time, Benny.
We love building out this capacity. This is amazing, Nick.
Yep.
Please stay safe out there, and don't get bitten, and get up on your rabies shots. And and if I'm gonna text you. I'll text you a couple of questions on the top of my head, like what we should ask for Democrat members of Congress that are there. Let's work on getting you a hard pass, brother, and getting you in the halls of Congress to mess stuff up. It'd be great.
Let's do it, man. Appreciate you having me on.
You're the man, Nick. Everybody follow Nick Sotor, and he's got nearly a million subs, 962,000 on his way to a million. Let's get him there. Benny Brigade. See you, Nick.
Appreciate it, Benny.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there have been some very, very interesting updates on the ground in Washington, D.C. Obviously, this is going to be a massive day. The hearing is happening live right now. We can just give you a little bit of they let you listen in to the oral arguments at the Supreme Court. This is a monster day. Here, listen in.
I am right, and I can do whatever I want. Now, on a multi-member appellate court, that is restrained by one's colleagues. But the trial judge sitting in the trial judge's courtroom is the monarch of that realm, and there are situations in which trial judges, the president does something. It could be President Trump, it could be President Biden, it could be President Obama. The trial judge says this is unlawful, and I'm going to enjoin it, and I'm convinced I'm right, so I'm not going to stay the injunction. And then an application is made to the Court of Appeals to stay the injunction. The Court of Appeals gives it the back of the hand, and then the case comes immediately to us in the context of an emergency application. And some of us have said, well, we don't think we should do anything in those situations unless it is indisputably clear that the court below was wrong. So what do you say to that practical problem?
So we're mindful of the practical problems. I will say the states have had a through line as well across administrations. We have never believed, even as nationwide injunctions restrained policies that we favored, that they were categorically off the table. We've always taken the position that they are sometimes available in narrow circumstances, whether we like the policy or don't like the policy. And so you might have some cases where the nature of the harm, this is the example from my friend on the other side, where the nature of the harm, which was Texas saying it had to give benefits to residents in the state, is actually entirely remedied by a nationwide state-only injunction that applies just to Texas, because that might incentivize individuals to leave Texas, and then Texas doesn't have to give them benefits anymore. So you might have a case like that. But sometimes you are going to have cases where it is impossible to remedy the state's own injuries, and the alternatives are not practically or legally workable. And that describes this case perfectly. And so I don't think the answer is a bright line that means even in those situations, it's not possible for the states to get relief.
In deciding the question that is before us here, do you think we should, never mind, I withdraw that. I have no further questions.
Justice Sotomayor?
Let's start with the answer you've been trying to give and haven't
she's
completed,
so dumb.
which are
Let's just listen how low IQ she
general
is.
suggested there were two ways that your injuries could be remedied. He claimed they were both presented to the court below. I didn't see that, but that's a matter that we could check on. Do you agree with me that
I'm not going to decrease your IQ by having to listen to Sonia Sotomayor. Just pray for the Supreme Court. These four. This is a real problem. These four on the Supreme Court. Looks like a woke DEI staff meeting at a feminist liberal arts college. It's just bad news. They have proven out, this wing of the court has proven out to be disastrous. You should have a 6-3 dominant conservative majority. It's so important. These court seats, I believe that God is on our side here. President Trump's already gotten 2 Supreme Court, correction, my goodness, 3 Supreme Court justices. And he may get more, actually, in this term. We'll see. Sonia Sotomayor is getting up there, and she's like barely hanging on. Honestly, like, she uses ChatGPT to write her rulings. You know it has to be the case. She uses ChatGPT. No one it's so smooth-brained. Her dissents and her commentary on this stuff. I mean, she is really so breathtakingly stupid. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad that we're actually having this conversation. It's good to be having these conversations. I'm glad that this is a question before the court. Should we have birthright citizenship? Let's accept how great that is. That's awesome. Good. We're having fantastic. Let's have that conversation. And then, of course, obviously the emergency relief from these little district courts. You heard Alito mention that right now. The emergency relief from these teeny district courts that are sitting there usurping presidential Article 2 powers and saying they're the presidents. These are tyrants in robes. It's good to be the fact that we're having these conversations. This proves that we are on offense, they are on defense, and that's a place you want to be on. Okay, on offense, finally today, Vladimir Putin skipping part of the delegation. We thought today, and we previewed this yesterday, that Trump may fly to Turkey, may skip this leg of the trip, may fly to Turkey and meet with Putin and Zelensky. That still may well happen. He's not too far. He's certainly in that region of the world. It would be a hop, skip, and a jump, as they say, especially when he's got those kick-ass military escorts. Putin skipping part of the delegation heading to Turkey for Ukraine-Russia peace talks. Now, I don't think this is confirmation that Vladimir Putin is skipping the entire thing. But at least we're having the conversation. At least there's peace talks going on. Russian President Putin will not attend high-stakes meeting in Turkey aimed at ending 3-year-long Ukraine war. Despite proposing direct talks in Istanbul, Putin's name did not appear on a list released by the Kremlin. Wednesday, Russian officials who will be attending. Ukrainian President Zelensky, who has not had a face-to-face meeting with Putin since 2019, is expected to be in Istanbul for talks. Zelensky will be joined by high-level U.S. delegations led by Marco Rubio, who just arrived. President Trump, visiting the Mideast, is not expected to attend the meeting, despite floating the possibility that he might do it earlier in the week. If Putin joins, then Trump said that he's going to be there. Trump talking about the potential meeting earlier, saying, if Vlad wants me there, I'm there. Let's go.
What happens on Thursday if President Putin doesn't show up in Turkey for the talks with Ukraine? What will you do?
Well, I don't know if he's showing up. I know he would like me to be there. And that's a possibility. If we could end the war, I'd be thinking about that. Now, tomorrow, we're all booked out. You understand that? We're all set.
But you move. He goes.
UAE tomorrow. And so we have a very full situation. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't do it to save a lot of lives and come back. But, yeah, I think they're thinking about something. I don't know that he would be there if I'm not there. We're going to find out. Marco's going. And Marco's been very effective.
So we pray for peace. Peace be with you. The words of Christ that he spoke after his resurrection. These are things that we want in the world. These forever wars destroy our treasury, destroy our true treasure in this nation, which are the lives of our young men, young women. I think there were 2 or 3 women that were killed in the Joe Biden disastrous Abbey Gate nightmare, where there was a suicide bomb, obviously 13 dead American heroes. We don't want to see that. We don't want to see it. Trump's bringing peace, and we pray for that peace. We want that. We want peace in our time. Police arrest one of 4 suspects behind the murder of an InfoWars reporter, Jamie White. Now, we covered this story when it first broke. It was horrifying. We had Alex Jones on to cover it. Alex Jones said that one of his reporters was gunned down in front of his house. Jamie White was his name. He's an excellent reporter. We've shared his stuff before. After nearly 2 months, police in Austin, Texas has announced the arrest of one of 4 suspects believed behind the murder of top InfoWars writer Jamie White, who was shot and killed outside of his apartment last March. The suspect is 17-year-old Eloy Adrian Camarillo, taken into custody, booked in the Travis County jail for capital murder and terror threat charges. $250,000 bond over the March 10th killing. So you can just get out on bond? This is insane. They should hold these people without bond. Alex Jones is responding. I'd like to find out more. Is this a criminal alien? Why is a 17-year-old killing a... Why is a 17-year-old doing murder of just like a random journalist? Something confusing is happening here. Let's let Alex respond.
Eloy Camarillo, 17-year-old Austinite who appears to be an American citizen, we're checking his background right now, was arrested and booked in to the Travis County Jail on May 1st and charged with capital murder in the terror-style murder, that's the coding of it, of InfoWars reporter Jamie White. Reportedly, in the affidavit, he is the accomplice of 3 others that are still at large. And I want to commend the Austin Police Department for the police investigation they've done. The local news just broke the information and has how they used geolocation from the cell phone and witnesses and other investigations they were doing to be able to track this down. Again, Jamie was killed execution style, 1 bullet through the carotid artery, through the back of the neck. My prayers go out to Jamie's family, his dad, his sister, and others, just amazing people. And we're obviously going to be looking to see if the Soros DA, Jose Garza, who will let people out of jail who shoot 3 or 4 people in one night, like the next day, with no bond. So I'm quite frankly surprised that he didn't release this guy with no bond. That's what he normally does, but I'm guessing he's probably got a big, long rap sheet, at least a juvenile one. So this is obviously what looks like a really bad guy off the street. It doesn't make it any better for Jamie's family or for the InfoWars family, but there you go. You know, we had to ask, was he killed by Ukrainians? He was on the Ukrainian hit list. But from day one, I said it was probably part of the crime wave we've seen here in Austin, because they cut the police by almost half and just let criminals out, and they just think it's a free-for-all. So that was my first approximation. He is innocent until proven guilty, but we'll put the report up here, obviously, on screen for you. And again, pray for Jamie White's family, and we will continue to track this story as it unfolds. But even with their budget massively cut and the crime wave, the Austin Police Department overall has done a very good job. I may have missed calls from detectives or something, but I checked most of my messages. I missed some. I never got a call about this. Surprising he's been in jail this long, and we're just now learning about it, but it shows how this violence all over the country has just become too common, and just the disrespect for life by these criminals, and then just by all of us getting numb is really, really frightening. God bless you, Jamie. We love you. You live forever. We really care about your family and you, and thank everybody for the support and outpouring of concern by everybody out there. We love you all. Thank you.
This is great. I'd love to get Alex back on the show. Maybe we can do that next week. This week, I want to prep you for what we're about to do tomorrow. We're going to be doing a big deep dive into the connections with Diddy and this trial that has been ongoing right now, with tons of revelations that we haven't really been able to properly cover. We have uncovered some very dark and very scary material connecting Diddy to the Clintons, the Obamas, satanic sex cults, predator cults that have direct crossover with Jeffrey Epstein, and some of the topics that we've been covering in abstention on this program, because the truth deserves to be revealed. And so we're going to be doing a special tomorrow with a number of experts blowing open that entire story, blowing that story wide open. We've uncovered some remarkable documentary footage, testimonies, some really dark stuff. We're going to be sharing it with you tomorrow. A lot of this stuff is out there, but was needing a fresh set of eyes to look at it and critique it, and just to take people at their word. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to speak with some experts tomorrow about this, and about why this is so dangerous, and why rapper Diddy may be in real danger. I think he's a complete piece of garbage. He's obviously clearly a scumbag. Probably is part of a Satanist predator cult, clearly, based on his actions. But what I mean by that danger is he just knows too much. And my prediction would be probably an Epstein situation for Diddy. I don't want that, right? I want the truth to come out. But he knows too much about too many powerful people. And I hope that he's under constant surveillance here in New York. And oh, by the way, it's just James Comey's daughter running this case. James Comey's daughter is named Maureen Comey, and she ran the Epstein case and the Ghislaine Maxwell case. Got it? Yeah, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that if you want to support the people who have lost their lives telling the truth, here's Jamie's GoFundMe. I'm sorry, I needed to shout that out. This is Jamie White's GoFundMe for his family. Lost his life. InfoWars reporter Alex Jones saying that perhaps they found some of the criminal element involved there. It doesn't make any sense to me, but we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. The truth shall set you free. Proverbs 16:7, our verse of the day. When man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies be at peace with him. What a beautiful, beautiful verse for today. There are a lot of people who, quite frankly, are the enemies of our nation, are the enemies perhaps of you on a day-to-day basis. But it's incredible when you have, like, I'm just going to use the word aura, right? When you're walking with God, when you have that peace about you, that peace is infectious, and that vibe is infectious, and people like gravitate to it. There's a gravity to it. There's a revulsion when you don't have that peace. I'll give you a good example. Look at how everyone is just flocking right now to the president. And you never saw that with Joe Biden. In fact, you saw the opposite. You constantly saw videos of like little children and young people like getting away from him, like babies crying. It's amazing how babies, like especially little kids, can feel energy. You know this. If you have little kids, you know this. Little kids just get nervous around certain people. They feel that energy more than we do. We're a little numb to it as adults. But man, those little kids. And so when you're not right, man, those kids feel it. You saw nothing but like kids screaming and crying when Joe Biden was around them. And I got hairy legs. Reach down in the pool. I got hairy legs. Anyway, what a perfect verse for today. People who are walking with God, there's like that gravity to them. There's that gravitas to them. There's that magnetic energy with them. People want to be around that. You search it out because we are spiritual beings. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we do our verse of the day. Please join the Betting Brigade. If you wish to support our journalism here and what we're going to build, we're going to be doing a lot more work on the ground in Washington, D.C. We're going to be funding reporters that'll be inside of the White House asking our questions, like bringing the questions and the power of this audience to the national stage. If you wish to support that, please go to BennyJohnson.com and sign up for the Benny Brigade. There's going to be a lot of like great exclusive access, the ability to forward and submit questions, something that we're going to be doing on the show to make you a part of the actual program and to make you a part of the national news cycle. You can also sign up for memberships on our social media platforms. Some people find that easier. Either way, it supports us, and we're thankful. Memberships are available on Rumble or on X or on YouTube. We're going to be building, and we're profoundly thankful for the ability to do that. It is a gift from God, and we wish to share that gift with you as we march together forward onto victory. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
truth gon' be? Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.